Okay, let's get started. Now we are discuss about classical criticism. There is poetic by Aristotle, part fourth. Poetry in general seems to have sprung from two causes, each of them laying deep in our nature. First, the instinct of imitation is implanted in man from childhood. One difference between him and other animals being that he is the most imitative of living creatures, and through imitations learned his earliest lessons, and no less universal is the pleasures felt in thing imitated. We have evidence of this in the fact of experience objects which in themselves we view with pain and we delight to contemplate when reproduced with minute fidelity, such as the forms of the most ignoble animals and of dead bodies. The cause of this gain is that to learn gives the liveless pleasance only not only to philosophers but to men in general, whose capacity, however, of learning is more imitated. Thus the reason why men enjoy seeing a likeness is that in contemplating it they find themselves learn, or in feeding and saying perhaps, oh, that is he. For if you happen not to have seen the original, the pleasure will be due not to the imitation as such, but to the executions, the coloring, or some such other cause. Imitations then is one instinct of our natures. Next, there is the instinct for harmony and rhythm. Meters being manifestly sections of rhythm, perhaps therefore, starting with this natural gift developed by degrees, their spatial aptitudes, still their rude improvisations gave birth to poetry. Poetry, no, diverged into two directions according to the individual character of the writers. Two grave spirits imitated noble action and the action of good man. The more trivial sort imitated the action of my manner Meaner's persons at first composing styles as the former did hymns to the gods and the praises of famous men. A poem of the satirical kind cannot indeed be put down to any authors earlier than Homer, though many such writers probably there were, but from Homer's own word instance can be cited his own Margates, for example, and other. Similar compositions that the appropriate meter was also introduced, hence, the Mayers is still called the iambic or lamponing. Mayers being that in which people lampooned and one another. Thus, the older poets were distinguished as writers of heroic of lamponing verse. As in the serious style, Homer is preeminent among poets for the alone combination dramatic form with excellence of imitation. So he too first laid down the main lines of comedy by dramatizing the ludicrous instead of writer personal style. His Margates bear the same relation to comedy that the elate and Odyssey due to tragedy, but when tragedy and comedy come to light, that two classes of poets still followed their natural bent. The Lamponier became writers of comedy, and the epic poets were succeeded by tragedians. Since the drama was a larger and higher form of art, whether tragedy has as yet perfected its proper types or not, and whether it's to be judged in itself in or in relation also the audience. This raises another question, be that as it may. Tragedy, as also comedy, was at first mere improvisations. The one originated with the authors of the dithyrambic, the other with those of the folk song, which are still in use in many of our cities. Tragedy advanced by slow degrees. Each new element that slowed itself was in turn developed, having passed through many changes. It found its natural form, and there is a stopped. Aeschylus first introduced a second actor. He diminished the importance of the chorus and assigned the learning part to the dialogue. Sophocles raised the number of actors to three and added scenes painting. Moreover, it was not till late that the short plot was discarded for one of greater compass and the grotesque dictions of the earlier satiric form for the stately manner of tragedy. The iambic measure then replaced the torquatic tetrameter, which was originally employed when the poetry was of the satiric order and had greater affiniates with dancing. One dialogue had come in nature herself, discovered the appropriate measure. For the iambic is of all measure the most colloquial, colloquial, col, collo, colloquial was seen it in the fact that conversation speech runs into iambic line more frequently than satiric order and had greater affiniates with dancing. Once dialogue had come in, nature herself discovered the appropriate measure. For the epic is of all measures the most colloquial was it in the fact that conversation speech runs into iambic lines more frequently than into many other kind of words, rarely into hexameters, and only when we drop the colloquials, intonations, the additions to the number of episodes or acts and the other accessories of which tradition till most be taken as already described. For to discuss them in detail would doubtless be a large undertaken. Okay, do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.